What's up, everybody? Welcome to a new video. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I had a comment from Mind Designs, and Mind Designs basically asks for me to tell the story about when I was a gamer and the decision I made to eventually quit playing video games and kind of what helped me decide to do that and live a more quote-unquote healthy lifestyle. Well, I have a story to tell, man. This is a wild story for me because I'm a nerd at heart. I'm a geek at heart, a gamer at heart. But I haven't played video games in, over 7 years, I would say. A long time. I haven't played video games, put it that way. And I don't regret it, honestly. Honest to God, I don't regret it. And I don't think I'll ever be able to play video games ever again, to be 100% honest with you. Let's go ahead and talk about it. So it all started when I was in junior high. Before I knew about World of Warcraft, I was used to get bored with the games that existed. I used to play, by the way, my game of choice was World of Warcraft. I know this is kind of nerdy and a little weird, but guys, I used to be a World of Warcraft addict. When I say addict, that's exactly what I mean. I would stay in the room playing for days. I even tried to get my dad to play with me, because you guys know my dad is disabled, so I tried to get him to play, and he actually started playing one summer, and we would stay up till 4 o'clock in the morning playing together, and he didn't really like the game. He thought it was too much of a grind, but we would stay up and playing as much as we can. I had a tremendous experience. I didn't even see the sunlight. In fact, you guys know, my parents are from Africa, so kids in my school said, "Wow, your skin color looks lighter," and that's because I didn't literally see the sun the whole summer. I stayed inside and I was playing video games, which I don't want to say I regret it, but I definitely would have, if I had the chance to go back knowing what I know now. I'd probably go back and play some football, play some basketball, get stronger, do whatever I could do. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. So I'll tell you guys kind of the story. It started off in junior high. I wanted to find a video game that I wanted to have this ability to build up a character, and World of Warcraft was exactly that for me. If you're familiar with the game World of Warcraft, you can have a character, you can build up that character in terms of levels, you can battle other characters, you can, put fancy gear on, like armor, and that armor looks really, really good, and there's different powers, and you can communicate with people. There was even a stock market, or auction house, it was called. Sorry. It was an auction house where you can literally sell items and make money from it. And the game used to actually cost $12 a month. When I was in high school, at the very beginning of high school, I didn't have any money. And so in order for me to play, I had to ask my dad to buy for me. Now, in the family that I grew up, it was not money wasn't common like that. So if I was going to play, it was going to only be on some sort of, celebration or holiday or something. So if it was Christmas, I'd get a month to play. If it was summer vacation, as a reward for finishing up the school year, I get, the few months to play, 2-3 months to play before school started. So in that kind of regard, I was lucky that I had parents who were able to afford that for me. And so I would play. And it was a grind. Like I said, it was a complete grind. But I started to learn about achieving success and achieving goals. My goal was to become max level. And max level, I know, like I said, weird terms, weird gamer terms, but I'll just kind of talk about this, is that at the time, I think it was level 85, which was the maximum level. It's changed now. I don't play now, so I don't really know what's going on in that game. But at the time, it was level 85. And you'd go from literally 0 to level 85, and there would be people who, if you typed in the game /played, right? Literally /played, it will tell you how many hours and days you've played. And I remember something like one of my characters said 32 days and 17 hours, right? And something like that. So I had played literally, imagine, for over a month straight just sitting there, and the hours had accumulated, and that was just one character. I had 11 characters. I was literally an addict. Okay, so it got to the point where I was in high school. My friends were getting jobs and things like that, and one of my friends said, "Hey, come work with me." And I figured, that's great. I'll work at the restaurant. This was my first job, so I started working at the restaurant. And the work was actually pretty hard work. Like, I had to carry big buckets of ice up the stairs, up and down. I was a busboy. I remember, in fact, on one day, I made only $27 the whole entire day. And for those who don't know, with the restaurant, as seniors in high school, we got out early. We got out at like 12 o'clock. And so when we would get out early from school, we would, go change, go home, and then we would be at the restaurant at around 1 o'clock for work. And we'd be from 1 to 1 at midnight, right? Because the restaurant would take time for it to close down, and people would leave, and, then we would have to clean up after. So it'd be about 1 a.m., sometimes past that, sometimes 2 a.m. before we'd close down. And I remember working for a whole 12 hours in New York City, and getting paid $27 for the day. We only got paid tips. We didn't get paid a salary. And people might say, that's illegal, that's this, that's that. But, as a young kid, and you don't really have that many job opportunities, and you're underage, you try to get whatever job you can. So that's exactly what I did. And my idea was behind this is that if I can make this money, I can pay for World of Warcraft subscription. And I would do that month in, month out, month in, month out. And then what happened was, over time, I started to ask myself, what if there was a way that I could make money online? Mind you, there was no idea of, in my head at least, there weren't many videos out at the time of, like, business-related videos. Like, there was very, very, very few business-related videos online, but they weren't really business, like, strategy. They were, like, it was like mentality type stuff, like inspirational, like Tai Lopez's 67 steps of personal development, things like that. And that was even rare too. Like, it wasn't, common or practical. So I had to figure it out all myself. So what happened was, I told this story before, but, I was deep into weightlifting at the time, and I started to get stronger very, very quickly. And so I wanted to enter certain competitions and things like that, and certain competitions allowed certain styles of wraps. So you can have knee sleeves, knee wraps, things like that, and depending on the competition. So, for example, if I was going to enter a Raw competition, Raw means that you're not allowed to use any gear. So no straps, no lifting straps, no wraps, nothing like that. And it just depends what federation you go to and what kind of competition you go to and things like that. But that's not the point. The point is that I was in that sphere of influence, in that world. And I had the idea, what if I can create a brand where I'd sell knee sleeves and lifting straps and like powerlifting kind of stuff like that, strongman gear. And at the time, there weren't really any big well-known brands. One of the big companies that was well-known at the time, which was really the only one, was called Ray-Ban. And Ray-Ban was really taking over the market, but at that time they had switched the material of their knee sleeves. And I said, great, if I can find a manufacturer that can do the original material that's better and create it under my own brand, then I can do a better job. And the material wasn't patented or anything. It was just that manufacturer, Ray-Ban, switched over to something cheaper, just to save money. And there were like a lot of people online starting to talk about the reviews and how the product was becoming worse and things like that. So I figured if I could create a brand where I sell these knee sleeves, I can make enough money to where I could play video games online. And I reduced the price drastically compared to what it would be. And I started, building the brand. But like I said, the first 6 months, I didn't make a single penny. I didn't make a single dime. After the first 6 months, I got my first sale through SEO. I was doing search engine optimization. The story is a long story, but it got to the point where, and this is kind of how I quit video games, is that I was so consumed with the next thing in my life, which was business, that for me, becoming successful in business became more rewarding than actually, playing video games. And what happened was with the video games, one day I was sitting down in my room playing video games, and as I was playing, I was kind of bored, and I said, if I lost this video game thing right now, all these achievements that I accomplished in this video game, and I tried, like, there were different kinds of characters. There were some characters who liked to beat other players, but there were some characters who liked to beat, like, different bosses, and then there were other players who loved to go for the achievements, right? I was one of those guys. I like to have the board of achievements where I get as many achievements as possible. And in the video game, you can compare your achievements to like somebody else's achievements. You can like inspect them and see what achievements they have accomplished and things like that. And for me, I was all about the achievements. But I realized that if some way, somehow, that this game was wiped off the planet of the Earth, I would have nothing to show for. No success to show for. Nothing that I could prove to myself or prove to the world that I've accomplished something in life. And that was really the last time where I stopped playing this game, and I stopped earning money to try to pay the bills of the game, but instead I tried to now work for something that I could actually achieve in real life. And I actually realized now that I'm older and I look back at the whole video games, and the reason why video games are so successful in the world today is if you look at the overall market of people who play video games, the people who are older that play video games now, they used to play when they were younger. And when you're younger and you play video games and you have no real chance to prove yourself in life, video games become the only area in life where you can actually achieve success. Like, and what happens is when you achieve some level of success, you get a dopamine rush. And you don't notice this dopamine rush, but it's a hormonal effect. Your brain starts to form a tie, a dependency almost, to achievement, to its success. And this is the problem that a lot of kids have with their parents, is that they start getting addicted to playing video games because they're achieving all these things. They're having, they're essentially in the throes of battle, right? They're in the competition of life in the video game. They're trying to battle, they're trying to win, they're trying to gain points, they're trying to beat the competition, defeat the enemy, become the conqueror, right? And the problem with that is that when you do that on a screen, you're not actually achieving anything in real life, at least most of the time. Now the world has kind of changed. Now you can be a gamer, a streamer, you can make money doing streaming, so the world has changed in that regard. But at my time, that didn't really exist. Like, it wasn't something that was very, very common. There was a old streaming website called Justin TV, which is the old version of what Twitch is now. And like I said, it was a very, very small group of people who actually were on those platforms at the time, and it wasn't well known. You couldn't really make anything out of video games. Everybody looked at video games like they were like some sort of joke, like a waste of time at the time, especially parents did. And I can't blame them, right? Because who knew that video games would change the world like this? But with that being said, That's what happens to majority of the young folk in the world today. And even when I was younger, right? Like, when I would go to 4th grade, 5th grade class, I'm failing all my classes. I can't pay attention in class. Teachers are telling my parents I'm going to get held back, and I have to sit there and study. As a kid, I don't want to study. I want to go out there and achieve success, but success in my own kind of way. I don't want to sit there and study and learn and sit behind a book, right? I'm a testosterone-filled individual where I want to go out there and experience life. And for me, and for many other young folk, like I said, it's not just men. It's, girls too. Girls like to play video games too at younger ages. They can achieve success on a level at a young age that you couldn't achieve success elsewise or elsewhere. And so for me, where I really put down the controller and I started picking up the laptop and started reading the books and started really perfecting the craft of becoming successful in business and really diving deep into it, is where I realized that it was a pseudo success. It was fake success. It was success on a screen, but outside of that world of that screen, my success doesn't exist. I have nothing to prove or nothing to show for it. And I needed to move on. And it was honestly not that tough of a decision, because I realized how much of my life I had already given away to that video game. I realized how much of my life that I had already spent on it. And like I said, it was a serious addiction. And if there are parents who are watching this video today who want to try to get your kids off of video games, what you could do is you could see what makes them tick, what motivates them to do something. Like, for example, for me, my dad, he would incentivize me. He would say, every single time you get a good grade above 90, I would give you $2. But every time you get below an 80, I would take away $2. And so for me, that was a big problem for me. And I didn't, that made me tick. That motivated me. Money was something that motivated me heavily. And so it worked for me. Maybe for your kid it's something else. Maybe it's time to go play outside, or playing on the sports team, the wrestling team. Whatever it is, you got to figure out what makes your kid kind of tick to get them off of video games, if you want to get them off of video games, right? If you see that's a problem. And for the people who are watching this who are addicted to video games and they want to get off of it, it's simple, right? You can't really dissolve an addiction. Like, I'm addicted to business. I can't get rid of that addiction, but I can pivot. I can move it. So I moved my addiction from video games over to my addiction to business. Any therapist could look at my life and say, you know what? It's probably not healthy to sit there and do 13 hours of business work a day and be completely consumed by the idea of business. Like, before I go to bed, I think about business. When I wake up, I think about business. When I go to sleep, I think about business. In my dreams, I think about business. At the dinner table amongst family and friends, I think about business. I can't think about anything else. I'm addicted. I'm an addict. I'm going to stay an addict my whole life, and that's not going to change. A therapist might sit here and say, that's unhealthy. That's not good. But that's just the way I am, and that's just the way I'm wired. And to be honest, listen, there's a lot of unhealthy addictions out there. I'm happy that my addiction is something like business is. And so for you, I don't think you need to worry about an addiction or anything or quitting games, but I think you need to just divert your focus, because you're saying here, how can I help you in this situation to live a healthier lifestyle or do something else? You just need to try other things and see what makes you tick, right? See what you really, really like. Like for me, business, the idea of getting money and success, business kind of brought that to me. And so for me, business kind of took over. And I kind of not forgot about video games, but they don't pull me the same way that I used to, and I probably will never play video games ever again. But who knows? That might change in the future, but I doubt it. With that being said, that's kind of the story of how I stopped playing video games. So just as a wrap up here, the initial motivation was to make money so that I could play video games. And then amongst that, I started coming to a realization that video games, there was no success. There was no real proof that I could show the world of the hard work that I put into that video game. And so essentially, all that work was wasted. And so I figured, now I want to prove my success, prove my hard work in real aspects, real areas of life that I could actually prove myself in. And that really was it, guys. And so hopefully this video helped you out. Listen, if you're a video game addict, trust me, I've been there. I've done that. There were certain points in times, guys, where I'm going to keep it real. I wouldn't leave my room for 3 days unless it was to shower. That's it. I actually lost weight during that period of time, that summer. I remember that summer like nothing else, because it was literally tunnel vision, video game tunnel vision. And I was very comfortable in that scenario, but people noticed it on me. Like, I remember kids in school would say, what's wrong with you? Like, you look like your skin tone is lighter. Like, have you not gone outside? And so there were different things that happened, but, that's a part of life. I mean, we learn from the mistakes we did, and for sure, for me, video games was a mistake. Although I did learn a lot of things, like about the grind and success and things like that. Maybe if I had put in more hours on business, instead of playing video games, I would have been much more successful than I am now, but at the same time, and all things happens for a reason. Maybe by me making this video, 100 people see it, and these 100 people decide to quit playing video games altogether and move into creating their own companies, and their companies end up, saving people's lives or creating services that impact lots of groups of people. So with that being said, hopefully this video helped you out, and this is essentially my story about how video games made me more successful in business. All right, I'll talk to you later. Thank you for watching. Peace out. Bye.